So for you, if you get the opportunity to fight a Jake Paul, a Tommy Fury, you're probably one of the influencer's worst nightmare. It's a different ball game.
We were campaigning for the Andrew Tate fight, still campaigning for the Tommy fight, and obviously the Carl Froch fight. So I couldn't give a I don't give a about private planes or yachts. I mean, I'd love to be on one, don't get it wrong if I get that money.
Everybody says boxers make more money than UFC guys. How would you compare the money?
Even when you're in the UFC, it's like, oh, we're going to take away your sponsorship now, we're going to put Venom in there or Reebok. And I was like, oh, wow, all that, mate. I've just made a ton of money. And I'm just like, who wants to fight? Just like everyone wants to fight.
Well, before I let you go, Darren, you know, we got special guests, MMA gurus in the chat.
Do you want some MMA?
I thought I'd show up, you know, show some moral support.
You got to support me now on the way.
Where's Andrew Tate? Where's Andrew Tate, man? You take his chin off.
Is he, mate?
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MIGHTYCast.
What's up, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game played directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your app store, download PrizePicks. When you do that, use my promo code MightyCast. Cool promotion going on right now. You play $5 and you get $50 in your lineup. And boys, they got the max discount. Patrick Mahomes, he's got to throw for a half a yard. It's an easy W to pick up that square. Just make your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode of the MightyCast. Let us enjoy this chat with Darren Till. Enjoy. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of MightyCast, and I'm joined by he's been on a tear in the boxing scene, and he was also on a tear in mixed martial arts. Help me welcome in Darren Till. Darren, how you doing today, brother?
How you doing, champ? You okay?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I like the outfit you got on right now. You cutting some weight. What's going on? You got the blue. It looks like you trying to lose some weight. What's going on?
No, I'm having a bit of a nightmare. So I've come to Brazil to see my daughter, and they lost our luggage in São Paulo. So we're sort of just having to go out every day and buy new clothes. So I'm just in this attire now. So yeah.
How's Brazil? You're visiting your daughter out there. I saw a video of you guys being reunited. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Like, Brazil's got a place in my heart forever. It's one of the best countries. I don't even call it a country. It's a continent. Like, it's so big. Yeah, she lives here with her mother. She's 11 now. So obviously try to get out as much as I can to see her sometimes, you know, not possible because work is different and stuff. But yeah, it's just been good reuniting with her and obviously seeing some old friends and stuff like that. It's just, Brazil's just, it's just the best place on earth, honestly.
Do you speak Portuguese?
Yeah, fluent.
How long did it take you to learn how to speak it?
So when I got to Brazil in 2013, obviously I met the mother of my daughter now. Like, the first 2 months she was working at the gym we were training at. So I think legitimately, as soon as I started learning it, it took me, I mean, it sounds crazy. It took me 5 months to I'm self-taught. So it took me like 5 months to start like speaking it. And then obviously along the way after the 5 months, like the slang and stuff like, I really wanted to learn the slang and stuff like that because of the favelas. They have their own language, like sort of everyone else does in every part of the world. So that was like my big thing. And also I made a challenge with myself to try and speak it as perfect as possible, like the accent, so that people wouldn't know I was a gringo. And I do have to say, I'm fucking amazing at speaking Portuguese, like I do have to say.
And they're able so you already have an accent from, you know, from your originally from.
Yeah, Scouts, yeah.
Yeah, and then you try to match their accent with you can blend in essentially.
Yeah. That was basically because a lot of times in Brazil as well, people I know a lot about the history of Brazil and stuff like that, and a lot about, even when I was living here years ago, like I got heavily into the politics. I was just really interested. So like a lot of small towns in Brazil, it's very rare for them to see like foreigners, like especially me, blue eyes and stuff like that. So they'd like stare at you. So I was like, I need to blend in as much as possible here so that they don't even know I'm a gringo. And some girls actually before I just took my daughter out to buy some clothes, and they were like, oh yeah, because I'm with my girlfriend as well. And they were like, oh yeah, you know, you live here. Is she from England? I went, no, I'm from England as well. And they were like, what? And I was like, yes, challenge. Like I've done it, I've completed it. If they don't think I'm a gringo. So yeah.
Well, it's funny because my professor, when he goes back home to Brazil, he has fair skin, but he's Brazilian. So sometimes like when he's when they look at him, they're like, oh, he's a gringo. But then once he speaks, oh, okay, he's Brazilian because he doesn't have like darker skin or whatever. So it's funny when you said gringo because he always says
the north and south as well, DJ. So the north and south, it's very interesting. So the south of Brazil, they're all very light skinned and blue eyes, and that's because I think it's in the Second World War, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of like the Germans and like Italians emigrated to Brazil. So obviously they all lived there years ago. So then obviously when they've made children and stuff like that, they haven't come out like the North people who are more like darker. They've come out like fair skin, blue eyes, stuff like that. Oh, it's amazing.
Damn, I just got a history lesson of Brazil. That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm not as stupid as I look, DJ.
Well, hey, I didn't put that out there. A
lot of people do. A lot of people say that Till, he's stupid. I'm not that stupid. I've got a little bit of a brain about me.
Okay, well, let's go to the beginning. I think the first time people saw you fight was in mixed martial arts. What was your upbringing? Because I was looking at something and you said you have 45 kickboxing fights, right? You amassed a kickboxing record of 44-0. Talk to me about the beginning of your stages.
That's incorrect, DJ. That's incorrect. I had about 35 fights, and I lost about 4. I lost 2 in Thailand, 1 in Canada for a world title, and I think my other loss was, I'm trying to remember right. Where's my other loss? I can't remember where the other loss was, but yeah, that's not right. I had about 35 fights and 4 losses, so that's an incorrect record. But it's still a good record because I did fight at like quite a high level in Muay Thai as well.
Yeah. Was your introduction into combat Muay Thai kickboxing, or what was it? Like usually for me, it was wrestling. That's what got me into mixed martial arts. When I was in high school, it was wrestling. So what was it for you?
For me, it was like, boxing, Muay Thai. It was like Muay Thai / boxing. Obviously went down the Muay Thai route. So that was like obviously my home. The way your home's wrestling, my home was obviously striking Muay Thai.
Okay. And then once you got to that, what made you transition to mixed martial arts? Because I felt that's when the first time I got introduction to you was when you came to the UFC. You're knocking people out. You had very, colorful post-fight. I'm not scared of anybody. I'll beat anybody up. That's when the first time I saw you fight. So what got you into mixed martial arts?
I think, again, collectively, when I looked back at Muay Thai, I was obviously like, can you make a career out of this? I was like, because there was no ONE FC back then and stuff like that. So I was like, is there money to be made? Like, because on the Muay Thai circuit in England, like TV wasn't getting pumped, like there wasn't pumping money into it. So I was like, maybe this is a bit of a dead sport. And obviously Muay Thai is a brutal sport as well. Like, so I was like, I don't know. And then obviously I'd come across, the MMA gym, which is Team Carbon at the time, which they had like, I think at one point they had 8 UFC fighters fighting out the gym. They were prolific back in the day. So I was like, okay, let's try my hand at this, see what's what. And obviously then that's just like everyone else, just fell in love with the aspect of you can lose any which way, you can win any which way. It's just so like, there's so mind-boggling how much you can learn in MMA especially.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you kind of fell into it, but you were successful. So if there was ONE FC, would you have never jumped into mixed martial arts? Would you kept going into MMA? Would you kept staying in Muay Thai? Because when you said, can I make a career in it? Dana White came out and said today that there's no career in mixed martial arts. It's an opportunity to be able to fight in mixed martial arts. What's your thoughts on that? Because when you said that, I disagree with Dana White. I think you can make a career out of mixed martial arts, right? You should be able to, but that kind of, a light bulb went off in my head because I read that story today. You said, can I make a career in mixed martial arts, or can I make a career in Muay Thai?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both, DJ. Obviously, we all set out and we all we want to be the best. I mean, obviously, you've got to be top 5 of all time, definitely, when it comes down to accolades and skills. But I think, obviously, we've all got that mentality. And then, obviously, sometimes reality sets in, especially for me at such a young age. I was obviously living in the favelas of Brazil. And obviously, my ex-girlfriend got pregnant early. I was only like 20, you know what I mean? DJ was like, oh, hang on, this can't just be fun now. I need to actually make a career. So, obviously, I do disagree with Dana. I think you definitely can make a career out of like mixed martial arts. Like, you can make a lot of money, but obviously you need the right people and you need to be smart as well. But yeah, for me, Muay Thai, it was a bit like, £300 a fight and stuff. I was like, what can I do with this? And obviously then it's like, well, what other skills do you have? Like for me, I got kicked out of school at a young age, so I was like, well, is it to the streets? Is it this, that? So when I think back, I think it was a bit of both for me. Like, you know, nowadays you fought in one and stuff, you can make a massive career out of like K1, Muay Thai with the little gloves and stuff like that. But it was very different back then. But yeah, I don't know. I suppose I have to disagree with Dana as well. Like if you, it's mad with the UFC because I know there's this ongoing debate about fighter pay and stuff like that, and I'm like on the fence. I mean, you know, you go to the institute and it's amazing and you can get looked after there, but when it comes down to it, essentially, I don't like seeing guys who've retired at like 31, 32 and like they still having to like sort of scrounge and scrimp for like money, and that's sad because at the end of the day, MMA is such a hard sport. And not many make it out alive on the other side where they can just retire and relax. So it's quite sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two things I'm going to go here. What got you? Why are you in Brazil before? Like you grew up in England, right? Like help me out.
Yeah.
Paint the story. How does somebody get to Brazil when you're not Brazilian? Like you went over there to train, but what took you over to Brazil to train? Were you not having good enough training in England, or how did you get to Brazil?
No, so obviously Team Carbon, obviously world famous, especially your famous. Like we had millions, like 8 UFC fights currently. The training was phenomenal back then. It was the best gym in Europe. I mean, now obviously it's finished and there's other gyms come up, but it was phenomenal. But obviously, DJ, at the time, I don't like to paint it. I want to paint it like the correct picture. I was in the gym. And I remember at the time vividly, I was on a police monitor. So like I had a police monitor on my ankle. So I could only train in the mornings. I couldn't train in the night because I had to be back at home at 7 o'clock. So that was obviously a thing. And obviously I was still probably being like, I want to say a little shit on the streets. Like I was probably still up to like no good. Not like nothing bad, but I was still trying to make a pound coin and stuff like that. And my coach knew all about that. And then obviously I ended up in this is like famous. I know a lot of people know this, but obviously there's a lot of people that don't. I ended up in an altercation one night on a night out. You know, me and a few friends ended up fighting with these other guys and whatnot, and this guy stabbed me twice, DJ, in my ribs. So like obviously,
damn,
yeah, he stabbed me, and as the doctor tells me after it, you know, it was that much away from my artery, whereas if it hits your artery, you know, you bleed out. So I was obviously one of the lucky ones, you know, thank God and stuff like that. But after that, it was in my mind, you know, I'm one of them. I haven't really given a shit. And then when I got to the first place I went to after the hospital was the gym to see me coach and see like all the UFC fighters in there. Like you know them, Terry Etam and Paul Kelly and stuff like that. And my coach just had like a hard word with me. And even my friend Paul Kelly did. My coach was just like, son, like, come on, like, really? He's like, I ain't seen a talent like yours. Like, he's like, all you need, you get a bit of rest on your back, and he's like, you can really make this. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you just acting like a fucking idiot. And I was like, he was like, look, we've got an affiliate gym in Brazil, which I knew at the time was Marcelo Brigadeiro, you know, famous in luta livre, you know, black belts, won a lot of tournaments, stuff like that. He's like, why don't you just go over there, son, and just have a little go of it from there, you know, stay in touch with me and stuff like that. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And at the time, DJ, obviously, I wasn't living like at home with my parents and stuff like that. They'd split and I wasn't seeing my mother and father as much. And so there wasn't nothing really to stay for. I never, like, I wouldn't go out that much, even though I got stabbed in the club, and like girls and stuff and that weren't a big part of me. I was always just solely focused on training. So I was just like, fuck it, what have I got to lose? And I know I'm a survivor. So I just picked up a little bit of money that I had, got a one-way flight there. And actually, funny story, the night before I was flying, I got into another altercation. So I turned up in Brazil, like, I turned up to Brazil with 2 black eyes and like scar wounds all over my face. And my coach over in Brazil was like, are you okay? He was like, are you mentally well? I was like, nah, not really, but come on, I'm here now. So obviously got to Brazil, you know, first, like obviously, as I said, I just spoke the story, first few months I got thrown in at the deep end, like favelas, you're talking 20, 30 black belts on the mat at a time. And I'd only just transitioned to MMA, so this was all new. Like these guys were just giving me hell on earth. Like they wouldn't stand with me, obviously, because, you know, my striking was obviously high level even at that time. So it was like, just throw him in at the deep end. And I was like, it was proper do or die back then. I was like, okay, I'm in a country, everyone's chatting Portuguese all around me, I haven't got a clue what they're saying. I feel like everyone's taking the piss. I'm like, I've been thrown in with all these kids. You know what it's like in Brazil. There's just 20 black belts in any gym you walk into at any time, any given time. So I was like, oh, this is a lot. So I got me shit in order. I was only meant to stay for 6 months. And obviously the reason I did stay was when me now ex-girlfriend, you know, was like, look, I'm pregnant. Like, I know you've got to go back home, but what is it? And I was like, look, I'm a man, like we're raising this baby, right, and stuff. But obviously, I didn't have a job at the time, DJ. So then I had to go out other than training because I had no money, and obviously the only speciality I had was Muay Thai. So I thought, well, I can teach Muay Thai here and make a living from it, like teach PTs, private lessons, and obviously start teaching in the gym. I spoke to my coach, so I made a bit of a like career out of that just to get obviously the money and to be able to make it to the UFC. So 6 months went from 6 months to 4 years, and in that time, you know, obviously raised my now daughter Bella. She's 11, learned the language of Portuguese. You know, got myself a home here. In 2015, made it to the UFC, signed my contract. So I'd done everything I said I was going to do and more.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Now, a lot of you guys don't know what a VPN is, so let me go ahead and educate you guys. A VPN helps you stay anonymous and keeps your IP safe when you're online. It also helps you from when you're gaming, keeps your IP address hidden, and also keeps you safe from DDoS attacks. It also helps you unblock websites depending on where you are in the world. Now, when I travel to Singapore or Japan, there's some websites that I can't get access to. One of them is HBO Max. You know, when I was over there in Singapore and I was competing, I couldn't watch Game of Thrones and I had to have my Game of Thrones. So the VPN helped me get that website unlocked because my VPN was based here in the US. And you guys are wondering, why is ExpressVPN the best in the world? It has the fastest internet speed, and it also has service in 105 countries. 105 countries, ladies and gentlemen. And you can use ExpressVPN on 8 devices. I use it on my phone, my laptop, and even my gaming computer. And ExpressVPN keeps your data and your IP address hidden from all those nasty thieves online trying to steal everything that you have worked for. If you guys are tired of getting your IP address leaked and your data hacked, look no further. Check out expressvpn.com or scan the QR code on the screen right here, and you can find out how you can get 4 free months for free. Shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode of the MightyCast. Now, let us get back to our guest. Gotcha. Sorry, I was mesmerized by the story because I didn't know. I was gonna ask, like, when did you get stabbed? Was that part of the UFC? So that was all prior to you getting to the UFC, but you had a long journey to get yourself to Brazil. Then you finally get their contract. You sign in 2015. So you're right about what, 27? Because you're 32 now.
No. So I got to Brazil when I was just turned 20. So I think when I got to the UFC, I think I was around 23, something like that. And obviously my 2 fights prior to signing the contract with the UFC, because they already had their eye on me, I knew, because my coach was also my manager at the time, Marcelo. And I fought in Argentina, Buenos Aires, against a guy, Cuban. He fought in the Olympics, actually, a Cuban wrestler. He was phenomenal. That's what I mean when people joke on that about my takedown defense these days. I could take that. I had takedown defense back then, but I fought him, beat him on unanimous decision. Then I had a 5-5 fight for the belt in one of the organisations here. Knocked the guy out in the 3rd round, and that's when the UFC gave me the call. But I was actually. That was like 3 days after my fight, and the UFC was like 2 weeks after. And that's when I got like the short notice call, because obviously there was a pullout. And they were like, look, we've been had our eye on Darren. Is he ready? Welterweight, stuff like that. He's going to take on, can't remember the guy's name, Wendell Oliveira. And I was like, yeah, sweet. Like, come on, let's do it. And I remember a funny story, actually, when they signed me, we were fighting in the north of Brazil. And I remember when I walked out, all the Brazilians were like, ooh, vai more here. And I was thinking, hang on, you cheeky I'm fucking from this country, like, you don't know. So I thought, when I knock this out now, I'm going to get on this mic and just fucking show you what time it is. Like, what? Saying that to me. So I remember when I knocked the guy out in the 2nd round with elbows, like, the translator come over and I went, whoa, stop there, you. Got the mic and I was like, don't you be booing me. I was like, I'm from this country. I was like, I've got a daughter who's Brazilian. I said, I'm half Brazilian. Don't you start booing me. And I remember the whole crowd just looking at each other like, what is going on here? Is he speaking Portuguese? And after, like, it sort of blew. And I think the UFC were also obviously rubbing the hands there. They were like, oh, we found a new star here and stuff like that. So,
that's just, wow, that is crazy. So when you got in UFC, you're super young. You're like 20, 21, you said?
Yeah, it's like 23, like young 23, yeah.
Okay, yeah, see, like nowadays, I feel like it's very it's very typical to see guys come to the UFC or in the sport of mixed martial arts at a very young age, because you start doing it when you're young, right? But I felt like back in 2011, like I got into UFC till I was like 26, 27. It's very rare to find guys who have a great record in the UFC that are young. So you get in the UFC, you go on a tear, right? You go on a tear, and then eventually, I want to talk about like you had, you lost 2-1, then you won 1, then you went on a 3 losing streak, and you kind of removed yourself. You kind of like you're. I'm not in your circle, but it felt like you were putting out there that you're struggling with something in your career. What was that?
I think when I look back at it now, because obviously I'm more mature, even though I don't act like I'm mature sometimes, but I am. But like, I think obviously after I beat Stephen Thompson, obviously I brought the UFC to my hometown, Liverpool, and obviously they threw me right in with the belt with Woodley. And a lot of people say, oh, he wasn't ready for that because Woodley was on a tear at the time. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was ready. I feel like at the time, after Woodley, I was sort of it was me taking on all these fights and not taking like the right route. The way fighters like take the right route. I've never wanted for me, that's like if I want to be the best, I need to fight the best. So obviously then I fought Masvidal, he knocked me out, and then I was like, right, I'm struggling a little bit with the weight here. I need to move up. And then obviously Gaslam, he just fought Adesanya. So when I was moving up, I was like to Dana, who can I have? Give me the highest guy. And he was like, well, look, you're just moving up. Like, we need to like ease you in. I was like, no, give me the best guy. He was like, and I said, Gaslam just fought Adesanya in that. Like, they had a crazy 5-round war. I said, give me Gaslam. I was like, I can beat him. I know I can beat him. So moved up to middleweight, fought Gaslam in Madison Square Garden. Got the fight with him, beat him. And then obviously COVID hit. Do you remember COVID hit? And then that's why when the UFC did come to me, it was like, look, we want to do a 3-day event in Abu Dhabi. We want to do Usman, Burns. It was Usman Burns, I can't remember, Usman someone, and then we want to do on the Friday you versus Whittaker, and I was like, yeah, let's do it, come on. And that was like, for me, that was, I know, even though I lost, I was like, oh, it was one of my best performances ever, just a little bit more, could have maybe won. Like, people say, oh no, it was a fit. I feel like Whittaker maybe edged it with like maybe a takedown in the 5th round, but it was a phenomenal fight. And obviously after that, that's where for me it sort of like went rolling down the hill. Even now, like the way I'm suffering, like I'm not suffering, but I was scheduled to fight Derek Brunson. It was in the UFC Apex, and at the time, like 8 weeks before the fight, me and Tom Aspinall were training, because obviously he used to be my former training partner. And at the time, now when I look back, I was like, I never should have been training with a guy of his size, because we used to like go at it like crazy, like sparring, like it was 100% every time with me and Tom. And sometimes we were even like, oh, this is getting hard. Like he hits so hard, TJ. Like,
well, he's fucking massive. He's a big boy.
Huge. No, he's huge. But I'm one of them. I try to have a good go myself, but it's like, even when we were doing the wrestling and stuff like that, it's hard. So I remember one time we was wrestling, and my knee got like stuck in between his legs, and my ACL tore. And that for me, for like the beginning and the end, because sort of my coach at the time was asking me, he's like, what do you want to do? But and I was like, no, let's take the fight. I can beat Derek. I know I can. And obviously I had some good moments, and then it just sort of, it spiraled. Obviously I lost to Derek, and then at the time I sort of was in between my gym and moving around, because I trained with Kamzat and stuff like that. And I went to Thailand to train for my fight with Dricus du Plessis. And he was on a tear, he was up come, but obviously a lot of people were like, is he good, is he bad? And I was the same. I couldn't figure out how, like, because you see him and he some of his techniques looks a little bit off, but he gets the win. So I'm like, no, he's got to be good. There's got to be something, like, even his will to win. And obviously we had a great fight. He tapped me in the 3rd round. Then after that, DJ, for me, it was sort of just like, hang on, like there's always been a bit of that. I feel like sometimes, even when I look on Twitter, like I see a few trolls and that, like, oh, Till doesn't dedicate himself. Like, anyone who's ever trained with me, Kamzat, Brendan Loughlin, all these guys, like Tom, I train harder than anyone. That's my problem. That's why I was so much riddled with injuries. So that was when I had to take a step back, and I was like, nah, I need to like leave the UFC now and reconfigure things. Like, I'm young, I can come back. I know I can. I had a great relationship with Dana and Hunt. I was like, no, I wasn't able to, like, my fight with Dricus, I didn't do any grappling at all, because I couldn't. Like, I was suffering with injuries, and I was from like years of just not recovering, not being smart, and just training, overtraining. And that was like, that's obviously the story of the UFC. And obviously I asked them at the time, I was like, look, I know this is not something you guys usually do, but look, I'm struggling here. Can like you release me? And do you know what? Fair play to Hunter and Dana. Like, they get a bad rap, but they did. They released me there and then.
So you asked for a release, but you see a lot of athletes I mean, the biggest thing is you're still young. You're 32 years old. Yeah. So, and you're more mature. You have so much more experience, right? Yeah. It seems like you got your life in a place where it's like, okay, if I'm going to go back to mixed martial arts, I know what I'm going to get myself into. But you found success in boxing. You knocked out my good man. You knocked out my good man, Luke Rockhold. Why the transition? No, that's all good. It's all good. It was a great fight. Your combination. Why? When you made that transition to boxing, what edged you to go more to boxing instead of, I'm going to take a couple years off, I'm going to go back to mixed martial arts, but you went to boxing instead?
Yeah. As I say, DJ, obviously looking at it collectively when I stepped back from the UFC, I've got a lot of like heavy contacts in the game of boxing. And like, I just knew a lot of people. I was like, hang on, there's a money train to be had here. I see what Jake Paul's doing. I see what like Tommy Fury's doing. I was like, no, I can get in on this. Like, obviously, fully believe in me striking, DJ. Not even just with boxing, like kick and elbow and like, I don't like to throw the words around like master, but like, I know I'm a high level striker when it comes down to it. Like, I fought the best of the best Whitakers and Stephen Thompsons and stuff like that. I even fought a class fight with Gavin. So I was like, no, there's a money train here. I can get on this money train and just choo-choo, go all the way. So I was like, okay. And it took me a little while. I think there's a hell of a lot of politics in boxing, DJ, like so much more than UFC. So it took me a little while, but I feel like what I've done differently to all the other guys who've transitioned, because a lot of them haven't had success, I just stayed in the gym consistently. So like every day I was in the gym with like these world champions, all professional world champions, and I was like, okay, right, I need to watch exactly what these guys do, because this isn't just as simple as transitioning. These guys move differently, they fight differently, it's closer, it's like it's inside, they move, they're always throwing punches, stuff. I was like, right, time to knuckle down. So that's what I did. Obviously, I've had 4 fights in boxing now. I had 1 last year in Dubai and 3 this year. I was obviously scheduled to fight Tommy. I've got me theories on why he pulled out, but it's a money train, DJ, and I'm on it. I'm on it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
So when you talk about the politics, right? There's a lot more politics in boxing than in mixed martial arts or the UFC. Right now, everybody says, oh, boxers make more money than UFC guys, right? You've been on both sides of the fence, right? You've had a long career, a good-sized career in mixed martial arts, and now you're starting to get on this choo-choo money train, as you call it. How would you compare the money? I mean, I know you're just starting out with boxing, but you've had some good fights. You're the Misfits champion now. How is that? And then what's it like negotiating with, because, boxing, they have the Ali Act, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference in the negotiating, right?
For me, right, I can't really go off professional boxing. I kind of bit, but if I have to decipher it down to, let's say, influencer boxing with Misfits and stuff like that, I've made a hell of a lot of money this year, DJ. Like I'm doing well. Like I'm okay. I'm happy.
I love that.
I'm good. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I
don't want to disrespect anyone, especially Luke. Like, Luke was a UFC middleweight champion, and Darren Stewart, my opponent before him, fought in UFC. Never seen him took a knockdown once. Obviously, didn't get to the highest level, but tough. And obviously, Anthony Taylor, there and about, and the guy before that was just obviously. But like, I'm fighting. I feel like these are easier fights, and I know people. This is just me, and people are going to disagree. You could have your agreement, and I'm one of them. I'm open for opinions, but I just know when I come up against the guys like Tommy and Jake,
it's that. Yeah, it's.
I just don't. Even if Jake is a bit more prepared, just the willingness to win and stuff like that, and just time and pressure, fighting, they ain't got that in their locker. And I just don't like the narrative at the moment. Like, I seen Eddie Hearn doing an interview today. He's like, Darren's looking decent and stuff like that. And I just think to myself, some of these guys probably move better as a boxer. But when I'm twitching on you, I'm taking all your breath away, and I'm twitching and moving, and I'm probably moving a little bit, not like a boxer, more MMA. That's different, mate. You don't know where the shots are coming from. And all these pro boxers I've sparred in the gym, they always say to me, like, I know your left's coming, but I don't know where it's coming from. It's like, because I'm setting it up and twitching. And I just know when I come up against your Tommies and your Jakes, I just know that's going to be the edge for me. And I'm probably giving me game plan away, but they're not even going to be able to stop it, so it doesn't even fucking matter. And this is just me. This is my opinion, but I'm the same size. I'm young. And every single day I'm getting better. Like, I'm already raring to go, like, back in the gym. Like, I'm just like speaking to coaches, when am I fighting? Who am I fighting? Give me a name. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is you're probably one of the influencers' worst nightmare, right? Because one, you're not scared to fight, right? That's you've proven that you've done mixed martial arts, and I would say at some point in time in your MMA you were successful. Then you had your lows, you battled all those injuries, but now you're in boxing where it's like all I have to do is worry about one aspect of the game, and the aspect of the game I have to worry about, it's your favorite part of the game, right? You know, a lot of guys who come from a Muay Thai background, stand-up background, it's like if you give Rodtang the opportunity, hey Rodtang, you ain't got to worry about elbows or kicks. You just got to box all the time. He goes, oh, perfect. No takedowns. It's a lot easier. So for you, if you get the opportunity to fight a Jake Paul or a Tommy Fury, it's like they're fighting a true fighter who's come from a combat background. That's no disrespect to anybody else they spot, but you know, it's a different ball game, right? And so I hope you get those fights because you're like, okay, you're young. Right? It's like you're not fighting fucking Mike Tyson. Nothing but love for Mike Tyson, but it's like you're fighting someone who's athletic, who's 32, who's strong and hungry, who's willing to take the fight to them.
Yeah. No, and to be honest, I do have to give props to Jake Paul. Like, the way I've seen him improved over the past few years, he's really improved. He really can. He can box. He's got power. He's big. He's obviously got a phenomenal team around him because especially he's got so much money. So it's like he's not. If I was to fight Jake Paul now, let's say in the next 12 weeks, I would train harder than ever just to leave no stone unturned because he's a guy, he can beat you. He's got the power. He's proved that. Like, so, you know, it's not like Jake Paul's a walkover. I just know when it comes down to the nitty gritty, you know, and people have just been like, so, oh, no, you know, you beat Luke, he's 40. It's like, yeah, okay, but I'm not going to go on and like try and fight, as you're saying, Mike Tyson. I wouldn't want to, to be totally honest with you, I really wouldn't want to fight Mike Tyson. I wouldn't want to put myself through that, like, oh, I beat Mike Tyson, but no one ever. Like, 1990s Mike Tyson, one of the most ferocious boxers on earth. Like, that's where, for me, the gimmick that comes in, DJ. Look, and as I'm part of the circus, so I have to hold my hands up. Look, the circus is here, but some of the gimmicks, I'm like, no, come on. And then it's like, so for me, I do just want to fight the best competition in influencer boxing. And then, look, if it comes down to it and I don't go back to the MMA, then I'll go to the pros and I'll try my hand at that. And I'll just be like, come on, let's see what I can do. Like, I'm getting better each fight. People even said it's the best shape they see me in my last fight. So I'm getting better. It's not like I'm declining. Like, I'm getting better. I'm hungry. And look, as a soldier, money's a motivator. If they're throwing money at me, you know, you're going to want more of it.
What's going on, guys? This video is sponsored by First Form. Now, I've been a First Form athlete for about 2 years now, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about one of my favorite products, which is the Ultima Greens. Now, Ultima Greens has 50 ingredients in it, ranging from grass to vegetables to digestive enzymes to kale, broccolini, you name it, they got it. Now, this supplement was designed to help people make sure they got their daily greens in them. For me, I'm a very simple guy. I like my rice and my protein. That's what I eat every day. Then I have avocado, but I got to make sure I get my green nutrients in. That's where the Ultimate Greens 50 comes into place. Now, I've already made myself some. It's absolutely delicious. I take it every single day, and that's why it helps me to make sure I get my greens in my system. And you guys can too. All you gotta do is go to firstform.com/MightyCast, and that's gonna get you the right place to make sure you can get your greens in your daily diet. Cheers. Now, shout out to First Form for sponsoring this episode of MightyCast. Let us get back to our guests. Yep. Well, I feel like you're at that perfect time where like you're still young, you're about to hit your prime as a man, and you're seeing a lot of success and the money's good. So you're just like, there's no reason why I shouldn't give him my all, especially if it's, you know, Misfits. I know KSI, he's doing a great job of, when I had him on the MightyCast, he goes, I'm about building Misfits, right? I'm not worried about fighting. I'm worried about building it. So what's it like having him as a promoter for Misfits, where he's like, I'm all in?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think I've come into Misfits and saw that they're all just like, right, Till's our guy, because obviously KSI was fighting, and like him and Tommy, they just don't get along. So KSI's like, right, I can put Till against Tommy. And look, it's no secret out of these. I think this is a big part of it. And obviously, you never needed to be like that. I don't feel like you've got any, like, you know, the shit talking. Like, you won't, you got 12. I was telling my missus before, I was like, I'm about to go on an interview with like probably the best of all time. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. He asked me, I was like, it's very confusing. But obviously, for me, I know what a big part is now, and I didn't get the chance to have the mic before fights in the UFC a lot. Put me on a mic, and I'll just terrorize every single one of these guys. Like, you just all get terrorized. Put Andrew Tate in front of me, I just terrorize him. So I know that's a big part of building it as well. Like, and you know, it makes a lot of money when you do it. Look at Connor, you know, for example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. I didn't have that skills to talk shit and make the fight more exciting. But I think and the reason why I wanted to have you on the MightyCast, I feel like your story is very unique, right? Because a lot of guys, they come in the MMA, they have a little success, and then they don't have any success, and they kind of just disappear. They kind of, I don't want to say they give up on themselves, but it's very rare you see, I don't want to call it a resurgence, but I feel like you kind of found your different path, right? It's almost like Mike Perry. He was doing decent in the UFC, then he lost. Then he finds bare knuckle fighting, and now he's like the fucking king dingling. Now he's doing dirty boxing, right? So you have a unique story where it's like, you're killing it in boxing. It's like you look amazing your last fight against Luke. Like when I saw the combination, like when I love Luke and I hate when he does the boxing. I'm like, Luke, your kicks are like one of your greatest assets when you fight. It's like your question mark kick, your body kick. That's what makes you dangerous, right? It's his hands are decent, but like when you fucking piece him up and you hit him and you hit him again, I was like, Jesus Christ, fucking Darren's fucking boxing he's dangerous.
But that's what I mean about being consistent as well, DJ. Like some of these MMA guys, I don't want to slate any of them, but they've come into boxing like, I boxed MMA, so I'll be fine in boxing. From what I've experienced now over the last 2.5 years of being in the boxing circle, boxing is a completely different sport. Like totally from MMA. Like I didn't realize how much the movement, the way they're always close, but just not far enough. Whereas in MMA, you have to worry about kicks, takedowns, and it's immense. They fight on the inside, and it's like the way you have to have your body. Like Terence Crawford was like showing someone like how you should stand, and if you're standing like that, you're so much open to get hit. But you're being on your side. So even for us MMA fighters, we'll be like, yeah, I can do that, but then we'll revert back to truth. So for me, this 2.5 years hasn't solely been about like catching the money. I'm like, man, I want to proper, and I'm a quick man. I'm like, I want to proper get good at boxing. Like, I want to be really good. Now, look, I'm not trying to say I'll get to be the best in the world. That, no, 32. But I know I can get to a decent level. Us as fighters, we can take this stuff in. We're not young sponges, but we're not stupid either. So I do really feel like I can have a good little career the next few years out of it. And obviously, the best thing about it is make a good bit of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short. You're 32. Terence Crawford's 37. He just put on one of his best performances of his lifetime, right? I mean, it's all about how you take care of yourself. And boxing is different. Like watching the Crawford versus Canelo, Crawford did a good job of always turning Canelo. Each time Canelo would get so close, he'd get across the void.
I watched that,
Yep, and then he would always turn into his left hook, and he would go left hook to the body, and then he couldn't follow up. I'm like...
It was phenomenal. It was a masterclass. It was an absolute masterclass.
Yeah, and if you, and that's why I tell you, I was like, what Crawford did was amazing, right? It's not combat. It's a different type of form of combat. Like, it's a way 100%. If you come from an MMA background and you watch it, you're like, oh... It's boring. I'm not gonna lie. When I watched it, I wasn't entertained, but was I in awe, like how he was able to do that to Canelo, somebody who's beat the shit out of people and just really boot him up, and then hear Canelo say, "I couldn't figure out his style. Like I just couldn't figure him out." It's like, wow, like.
That's crazy.
You're the. I feel like he's the face of boxing, him and Usyk, because each time Canelo fights, like I'm always watching. I've seen more Canelo fights than Crawford, but Crawford was a masterclass. So you're right. MMA compared to boxing is two different sports. Like if you don't understand the sweet science of boxing, which I feel like you have accepted that, where a lot of MMA guys they don't accept that. They haven't accepted that.
I've accepted that next fight, hopefully, let's say I do end up fighting Carl Froch. I don't know if anyone's aware, but obviously one of the best fighters to come out of England. He won everything. He fought with Andre Ward and stuff like that. I know he's a bit old now. If I get the fight with him or the fight with Tommy, these are fights that I have to get better for each camp, each time in the gym. So it's not like I don't want to stay stagnant now. I don't want to stay. I want to like last fight. There's something I could do. The fight before, I stayed on the ropes a bit much. So I need to just keep getting better. And the way you keep getting better is you stay in the gym, you stay consistent, you learn, you ask questions. Like if I was in the gym with you, DJ, I just have to ask everything because I'm like the guy 12 times UFC. Like, so that's how I see things, DJ. Whereas I feel like some of the MMA fighters who've crossed over, they've just crossed over like money and just I'll fight. It's like, no, you need a little bit of learning as well.
Yeah. Now, are you doing your full camp? Are you full time in Brazil now, or where's home base now, where you're doing all your boxing training?
Whole night now, see, England, Liverpool. Liverpool's renowned for its boxing. Like, you know, a lot of good gyms, a lot of good coaches. And at this point now, I've been wanting to travel a bit. So obviously, I'm in Brazil now. I'm going to go to Mexico next week to, I don't know if you know, the CPI stem cell.
Yep.
I'm going to do stem cell there. So after that, and then I think I'm going to visit back to Brazil for a week. And then I think we're probably going to take a little journey to Dubai and probably maybe do a fight camp there. I've got a lot of friends there. So maybe I'm going to take my coaches with me and stuff like that. So maybe that's the next phase. I don't know. Like, and obviously there's fight negotiations ongoing now. Obviously we were campaigning for the Andrew Tate fight. That was looking like it was going to be good. I mean, I don't know from his side what he's saying now. We've had a bit of back and forth on Twitter, but that was looking good. I'm still campaigning for the Tommy fight and obviously the Carl Froch fight. So there's big heavy fights out there, DJ. So for me, I'm in a win-win position. I've got myself into a great position.
Now, since you're on a Misfits boxing, are you able to lobby for other fights, or are you under that umbrella? You can't.
No, I'm finished. I've fought out my contract with Misfits now, so I'm a free agent.
Oh wow. Okay, so now you're able. So talk to me about that, right? Like, you know, obviously you're lobbying for fights, you're negotiating, right? Like they always say, boxing has more leverage. Boxers have more leverage to do the negotiating, right? Like you're trying to pick. You're not picking, but you're like, hey, I'll fight Tommy. I'll fight Andrew Tate. Or Tristan Tate, whatever the Tate brothers you're gonna fight, or I'll fight this guy. Let's say, okay, let's say, all right, I'm gonna fight Darren Till. Me and you agreed to fight. What's the next step? Do you go out and fight? Like you go to KSI, like, hey, Misfits, hey, I got a potential fight that you guys might like. It's me versus Demetrious Johnson. You guys wanna have it? Walk me through that negotiating process. Since you've already fought out your contract with Misfit, you're under no umbrella, so you're pretty much a free man. So walk me through that step.
I think this is as well for a lot of fans watching from how it is in the UFC to boxing, and what I've gathered, us as boxers have more leverage. So what could happen now is Matchroom, Eddie Hearn could come along and be like, we love the fight. Misfits have also still got a little bit of hold because they can come at me with an offer after fighting on contract. So they were like, we love the fight as well. We'll let both guys put it on. Matchroom will obviously look after Carl Froch. Misfits will look after me. Them two guys will come together. We'll negotiate. Let's say, obviously, Carl Froch being the A side. You know, he'll negotiate for his pay. I'll negotiate. I'll be like, no, I know how much I'm worth. That'll be obviously an ongoing negotiation. Even little things like ring size, gloves, like what gloves you're going to wear, all that is in negotiation that goes into the contract. So, yeah, we do have a lot of level. Like, obviously, now I know my worth. I know exactly what I'm worth now. I know exactly what I bring to the table. The whole world was talking about me after the fight, especially even, you know, I was beefing with Andrew Tate, who's one of the most famous guys in the world. So I know my worth right now. I'm not going to ask for an insane amount, but I'm like, no, it's time to get paid properly. And obviously, sometimes I don't feel like you have that leverage in the UFC. It's just like you do as you're told. So I've got that now. Obviously, I've fought my contract out. So obviously, Misfits is at the top of the list. But then there's other people that can come along. And this is not me saying I'm going to go away from Misfits. But if someone comes along now and offers me a ridiculous amount of money, it's like, look, I love yous, but I'm going to leave yous for now. Like, and that's how it is. So there's a lot of promoters that can come along and they say, look, I like the fight. They can go and speak to their TV who they're with. They'd be like, right, let's make this fight. This fight's massive. Let's get this fight. They'll campaign with them. And that's how it worked. That's how I'm gathering. I don't even know if I should be saying all this, but I'm fucking saying I don't give a shit.
No, I think it's important you said it, because I think a lot of people don't understand. You know, I understand it, right? But you hear about it, but until you hear it from somebody who's actually in it, you don't know. Like you read something and it's like, oh, I guess that's how it is. But a lot of people think like when, you know, right now I'm following the case with the Ali Act revision, right? Where the UFC, they're trying to revisit and make it a UBO, where a UBO is this UBO, this UBO, this UBO. And if you're in that UBO, you cannot, there is no lobbying, right? Like you don't get, there's an A side or a B side. They're trying to take that out of the Ali Act because they want to get into boxing, right? So for you who's been in mixed martial arts, who's been underneath the UFC banner, and you know it's like, this is what you get, 10-10 or 32-32. That's it. Oh, you beat that guy. Oh, your next fight, it's already set in stone. It's 36-36. Oh, you beat that guy. Oh, next one is 40-40. Oh, guess what? You're on the other side where you're like, hey, I just fucking knocked out Luke Rockhold. I'm a free agent. I'm about to fight Tommy Fury. Hey, Tommy Fury, we're going to fight. We both sided. Eddie Hearn goes, I like that fucking fight. I'm going to give you $2 million Darren, I'm gonna give you $2 million, and you're like, hold on, mate, watch your fucking self. I'll stab you, mate. I want $3 million. That's the going. That's you can do that, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like the UFC as well. Like, I don't like to slander Dana too much. He gets a lot of heat, but obviously I have to be a truthful guy as well. I will stand on business for what I believe in as well, stuff like that. But it's like, even when you're in the UFC, it's like, oh, we're gonna take away your sponsorship now. We're gonna put Venom in there or Reebok, and I was like, oh, whoa, what the fuck's going on now? So now the fighters aren't even making money outside of it. It was actually quite cruel. Some of it was cruel. But like that sort of stuff, 10 plus 10, and then it's like your fight set in stone. Fuck all that, mate. That does not like, for me now. Like, I'll just be honest with you. For me now, I couldn't be loving life more right now. Like, I'll be honest. I've just made a shit ton of money. I'm here in Brazil with my fucking daughter, eating what I want, getting fat, just lifting weights, and I'm just like, who wants to fight? Just like, everyone wants to fight. Come on, like, fucking come on, constant stab, like 2 mil, 3 mil. Yeah, you want to be the A side and get 4 mil? Go on, give me. I've got no ego, DJ. If you want to call yourself the A side and you want to pick the gloves and you want to say this and that, I don't give a fuck, because I can fight. I fucking want to fight. I'm training. I'm getting better. And you're gonna tell me what, you want 4 mil and I can get 2.5? Fucking true, right? Give me the money. I don't give a shit. Then next fight again, it'll be the same thing. Oh, you want to be the A side and take 5 mil? I take 3 mil. No problem. Well, no problem at all. Go for it. Like, be the ace. You're the best. You're everything. You're the best. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna knuckle down. None of that ego shit. Next fight again, Jake Paul. You want 50 million? Give me 10. 10 million for a little boy from fucking. I don't give a shit. Take it, because I'm gonna knock you clean out, and I'll just keep bump. So that's it with me, DJ. Like, no ego. And what, making all these millies? Fucking what? Instead of negotiating 50-50 in the UFC, or 100-100, and then getting taxed in America and England for me. Fuck that shit, mate. I'm not a fucking cunt. No way. Just give me the millies. Andrew Tate wants to beat the top G. He can beat the top G. Shag all the women. I'm not about that life. Take 20 million. Give me 5. I'm happy, because I'll just knock you flat out. So that's how it is, DJ.
What I'm hearing is your ass ain't never coming back to mixed martial arts, because you have so much more. I mean, it's the truth. Well, you have so much more say. You have so much more leverage. You can dictate what's happening, and you get a nice slice of the pie. Where, like I said, a lot of people who are in your position in boxing, we don't get the opportunity to talk to them about that, right? Like, could you imagine, like, every UFC fighter goes, I'm gonna get this much, no, but I'm gonna do that, have leverage. Nobody would fight. I mean, everybody would want to fight, but I don't think you would get the matchups that are being not forced, but I guess you could say, you know, a lot of things with boxing is that you get into matchups with Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. On the outside, it's almost like, what the fuck? I was like, can we not? I mean, I love it, but as the sportsman side of me, as an athlete, it's like, isn't there another guy out there who's...
But that's where, like, then it comes back to the UFC being the best, because you know yourself, DJ, being one of the best of all time. The best always fight the best in the UFC. Like, I remember when there was a battle fighter, I think it was for Islam, someone, and Volkanovski, who's number 2, was going to be the battle fighter. Like, that doesn't happen in boxing. Like, Ryan Garcia, before he was fighting anyone, was fighting just boom, 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 boom. The UFC, it doesn't work like that. You're fighting, when you're in the UFC, you just killers. You've seen the prelims. The prelims are better than the main event, the main card. Most of the times, like, killers row. So it's like, then we have to go back and think, well, hang on, no, that's why the UFC is creeping up on boxing, because Dana does make the best fight. I mean, I feel like he's let off lately. I think his focus has been more on boxing, but if we look back on the fights he's made, and the best have always fought, but like number 1 fight's number 2. So are we willing to, like, accept lesser pay? That's the problem, because there is a lot lesser pay. So when you're looking at it from the outside, the UFC's always putting on the best way, the best way. I can't, like, for me, when I look at Gervonta Davis' record, who, by the way, I think is a phenomenal fighter, and and Ryan Garcia, I'm like, you haven't really fought who you should have been fighting. And Shakur Stevenson's there, but you still haven't fought. And it's all, that's when I say about boxing and the crazy politics behind it, because the promoters have egos. These two, like with Dana, he's the boss, but these two promoters, they have big egos, so they're having, like, cock-offs, like, my cock's bigger than yours. And this is where I can't understand it, because, like, I'm just like, give me 2 million quid if you want a bigger cock than me. Go on, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. As long as I'm getting 2 million and me and my missus and my kids are happy and my friends are happy, I couldn't care less. Like, so that's, for me, I am an anomaly with a DJ, but when we do look at that properly, and obviously, as a guy, me looking up to you, you always fought the best, and Islam and Ilya and stuff like that. That doesn't happen in boxing, so it's half of a sad story in a way.
Do you think?
So, yeah.
Do you think that would make boxing better? Because I agree with you. Like, you had Gervonta Davis fight Ryan Garcia. That took forever to make happen. It's like, why? You guys are in the same weight class, and then it's like, oh, rehydration. You can't do that. Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis. Devin Haney versus Gervonta. Like, you have so many. It's like they're fighting guys that you don't even heard of. It's like, why don't you fight those guys? Do you think boxing could do better if they did it?
Yeah, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Like, I wanted to see that fight like 6 or 7 years ago, and now I just don't really give a shit because they both lost. They're both sort of at the end, and now they're both like, yeah, let's milk the public and get hundreds of millions out of us. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, so this is where it does really infuriate me, because as a boxing fan as yourself, it's like, why aren't all these guys fighting each other like in the UFC? So, but then if we were to do that, like, would things change? This is where I'm still not getting it. I think it's a thing with the promoters. I think it's a thing with the fighters. And I think collectively there's just so much. There's not nearly enough politics in MMA as the same in MMA as boxing. Boxing, it's riddled. Even like, I talk shit about the promoters, the boxing ball, and all that. They're just so corrupt. I don't give a fuck. I do that to them. I go fight in Dubai. Like, I'm not arsed at all. So that's where I'm confused, because obviously I'm just like, it's black and white for me. Like, I just say it how it is, black and white. And if it's grey, I'm like, oh, why is this a grey area? What's going on? So that's where I'm still really struggling. But I am learning. But yeah, we have a lot more leverage to negotiate, which, as I just said, it's fabulous for me. But then in the UFC, it's like, shut up, you're getting 10 grand and you'd be happy with it.
Yep. Well, I also think your mindset comes from that background of fighting in Muay Thai, fighting in mixed martial arts, where you have no say-so, and then you get to opportunity where you're like, I'm going to make this much money. Yep, sign it. You be A side, you be B side, you can do whatever. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that fat check. And then when you're like, I want to fight the best, where you see the other guys like, well, you know what? I don't want my guy to fight that guy. I'm just going to have a fight this guy. Like, who the fuck is that guy? Instead, I was like, no, I would, and I think one day we will get that. We will get that answer, because it always, that's one thing that I dislike about boxing. It's like, why did it take forever for Mayweather to fight Pacquiao? Why did it take forever? You know, I remember when, like, Ricky Hatton was a big thing, and then Ricky Hatton fought Mayweather. Mayweather knocked him out. Then he goes to fight some other people, and then he fights Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao knocks him out. Then he kind of disappears.
God rest his soul, by the way. R.I.P. Ricky Hatton, just passed. God rest his soul.
Just passed. I was thinking about his career recently, but it's like, it was very hard to see the best fight the best in boxing. And just like you said, Anthony Joshua, why didn't he fight Deontay Wilder, or Deontay Wilder fight, took forever for him to fight Tyson Fury. Just all of that just takes forever. Besides Usyk was like, I'll fight all you guys. Like, I'll fight you. He didn't care, right? So I think it's all based on the athlete.
Well, you can even see it in Usyk's interviews. They're like, fight Anthony Joshua. He's like, yeah, he beat me. Usyk doesn't give a shit about all this ego and whose cock's bigger and who's top G and who fucks the most women. Usyk's just like, as soon as I get in the ring, it's over for you. And that's sort of how I'm thinking now. I'm not trying to say I'm the best in the world. I'm not. But I'm in this influencer scene. And if Tommy Fury wants to stand in front of me and show me his watch click and say how better than he is, well, I don't give a shit. Come on, just... as long as I'm making a few quid for me fucking peers and I've got a few fucking jackets to buy, I'm not arsed. I couldn't give a shit. I don't give a shit about private planes or yachts. I mean, I'd love to be on one, don't get it wrong, if I get that money. But, obviously, if that comes, I would want that. Like, I think if my missus was listening now, she'd be like, no, get the private jet. But no, it's like, I just think it's what you just said, it's just so much like, egotism and stuff like that, and it's all like they all want to be the best. For me, just get me in the ring and I'll show you who the best is. That's how I think.
I fucking love that. Where does that come from? Sorry, I had to plug my computer in hand.
It's okay. I don't know, DJ. I think a lot of years of like hardship and learning and being around people and understanding. like, I've had to do a lot of growing myself. Like, I've had relationships that have failed. You know, you're bringing up your kids, you're having to survive. You know, I've had friends. You know, I've had good friends around me and stuff like that. And I just think a lot of learnings come up to this point, and I saw them at the time of now what's right, what's wrong, and I just think the worst thing as a man is when you've got this like ego. It's like, you know, when you're out in public and you don't want to show affection to your woman, or if you're with your girls and you don't want to be like putting face paint on with your little girls. Like, oh, like what's that about? Like, for me, just completely take your ego out of it. And if a man wants to stand in front of you and say, I'm bigger and stronger, and you're like, yeah, it's fine, mate. I'm not really asked. You can go and be big and strong somewhere else. Leave me to have a good time. So it took a lot of years of learning to be like that. And look, I'm one of them. You either love me or you hate me. Like, I see Twitter, what it's like, and I fucking love it. I love having the beefs on there. But to get to this point, to look at how you have an ego, for me, I think it's best to have a minimal one. And like, as I say, let my fighting, let my talking do the fight. I know I talk a lot, but like prove in the ring. So that's what I mean. Like, beforehand, if someone wants to fight with me and they want more money and they want the gloves and they want to tell me that they're better than me and they're top G, I don't give a shit. So it's took a lot, but I feel like I'm learning. I'm still young and I've got a hell of a lot to learn, but I feel like I'm on a good path, not a bad path.
I love that. So what's your goal? What's, you know, you got the boxing going on. What's your end game? What does Darren Till want to do when he's all done with the combat? I know you're 32, but what is something that you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep on winning, keep doing this. I'm going to start stacking my money towards this. And I want to retire in Brazil. I love Brazil, or I want to retire in England. Like, where you're grinding, you're trying to get some new jackets, but what's the end game goal for you, Darren?
Do you want me to be totally honest, DJ? And this is no like...
That's why I fucking asked. Yes, I want you to be honest.
This is not like no stretch of like... This is no lies. I just struggled to get through the days, DJ. Like, I could bring my missus in here now. She's like... She would tell you, like, for me, I'm not really a man with a plan. I don't really plan around me money. I just sort of try to get by. And like, I think I've got a bit of a plan with what I want to do. I'm like, right, this boxing, yeah. But I haven't, like, I can see you probably a guy who sets out your plan like 5 year, 10 year, and look how success you are from it. And I'm not trying to say like my way, obviously, I don't know. I'm seeing what's coming now, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I can buy loads of jackets for me and my friends. I can buy loads of jackets for my daughters and my girlfriend. So let's just keep doing it. So there isn't really a plan, but I know I'm young and I know I've got a lot to give still. So that's probably the plan, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I'm articulating myself well. Do you know what I mean?
No, you living your best life right now. You're enjoying it. You're just going through it. I think since you've had a lot of hardship growing up and trying to find where you feel the best and where you feel strong, healthy, you're surrounded by good people, you got good energy around you. Now you're like, we're just gonna keep this going. We're gonna keep this good energy going.
I don't want to say hardships as well, DJ, because that for me sometimes I'm like, oh, don't start saying you've had a hard upbringing, because I know people out there who've had the hard one. Like, I had a great upbringing, but obviously I've had me we live in a first world, obviously, me and yourself. We have our trials and tribulations. We have like the good and bad that affect us, and then obviously people who live in poverty have the same thing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's sort of like that. I've had like sort of one of them lives where it's to do a lot of learning and growing, do you know what I mean? And the energies and stuff have got to be right and stuff like that. And as I said, it's all black and white for me. So I'm just on this, as I say, money today. Now I'm just like, right, keep that coming, let's go. I've gone from buying fake watches to real watches. I'm fucking buzzing. I'm buzzing.
But what I mean, you did have hardship, because anybody, like, for example, where I come from, they hear my story, and then when they see all the things that I've been able to achieve, they're like, wow, like, how were you able to pull yourself out of that and become what you do, right? So for you, for somebody who got stabbed fucking 2 times in the ribs, and you're fucking around in the streets, and then you're able to turn your life around. Not like your life was going in shit, but if you take anybody else from a different area who gets stabbed, they would be bitter. They would be like, fuck this man, I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna make sure. People have that mindset where they turn themselves into like, I can't do, I wish I could have done this. But you were like, I got stabbed twice, went to the gym, let me figure out my shit. I go to Brazil, you do something. So that, in my eyes, in America, we see that as hardship, and we all have hardship.
Yeah, I'm a do it as well, DJ. Like, I'm one of them, mate. You put me in Brazil, if you fucking put me in anywhere, Africa, anywhere, I'm going to fucking survive and I'm going to make money and I'm going to learn the traits of the way you guys live. I'm one of them, mate, like, sometimes us English, for me especially, I feel like we're entitled. Like, no, you need to speak English. I'm sort of the mindset now. If I'm in your country, I'm going to fucking try and learn your fucking language. So, like, throw me in Japan, throw me anywhere. I'm one of them. Leave me with no phone, no bank accounts and stuff like that. And trust me, I'll get by. Like, I'll get by. I'll survive. I'll provide for my family. I'll provide for myself. And I'll provide for anyone else who needs it around me. And that's a good mentality to have. So I just know, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? As long as I don't get stabbed again, I'll be fine.
I fucking love that. Well, before I let you go, Darren, my man Michael Wandover, he's got a question. Michael, the floor is yours. What you got for my man Darren?
Hey, Darren, first of all, you'll never walk alone representing Liverpool. DJ knows nothing.
What number? Who you got?
No, this is no one on the back, but I do have a Mo Salah jersey.
Okay.
I went to Anfield. DJ and I were in the UK. I went to Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield this past season. Won the last game. It was absolutely incredible. It was DJ should have came along.
Oh, DJ, you missed out to swear. Liverpool game.
Hey, I'm going back this time, just me and the wife, no children. So maybe we will catch a soccer football game.
Yes, please do. Oh, it's unbelievable.
No, it was amazing. But so the question I have, we have heard Andrew Tate, the top G, he's rumored to be potentially fighting for Misfits. I don't believe he's going to fight you first. That'd be a pretty tough first opponent. But what do you think about his credentials? Because there's a lot of people who say, is he legit? Is he not legit? How do you think he will fare in boxing?
Look, Andrew Tate didn't have a bad kickboxing career. Like, he was okay. He didn't get to, like, the highest level, stuff like that. But the guy can fight, and he's a big dude. He's a heavyweight. You know, he packs a punches too. I think he'll do pretty okay. But as you say, I don't see myself, unless the money and stuff like that's right, ever fighting Andrew Tate. I just think he wants to stay away from that altogether. Collectively, you know, he knows I'm a little bit unhinged and stuff like that. And you don't want to take that thing away from being the top J, the top mom, you know, his ego and stuff like that. So I do think he'll stay away from me. But it's a good back and forth. I invite it, you know what I mean? But he did have some good credentials. I mean, DJ, I don't know if you're fond of I don't know if you're familiar with Liam Harrison, you know, one of the greatest Muay Thai fighters of all time. I trained with him for years. He trained with Andrew and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew's, you know, he had a great kickboxing background. And, you know, like we said, he has all the money in the world. He can get a great facility. He can get people around him to actually help him train, get ready for a boxing match. So I think he'll do just fine, right? Especially if he's not scared to get hit. But, you know, I think that's a fight that all of us want to see. And, you know, we got special guest, MMA Gurus, in the chat. He helped set this interview up. He's a big fan of yours as well.
What's up, guys? How's it going, man?
What's up, Guru? You just chat shit about me. Do you want some?
What did I say about you recently?
No, you don't. We've always been cool. I just love the way you shit talk everyone else. It just makes me happy.
Thanks. Yeah, I got messaged 5 minutes ago telling me to crash the interview. I don't know what you want me to fucking say, though.
I love it. Yeah, I
thought I'd show up, you know, show some moral support, you know, bring some extra viewership in. You know how it goes, dude.
Hey, come on, amigo. I'm working myself way back up now, mate. You got to support me now on the way back up.
Back into his prime, dude. Second prime of Darren Till, dude. Where's Andrew Tate? Where's Andrew Tate, man? He take his chin off.
Where the fuck is he, mate?
You don't want it, man. Well, I wasn't a fan of the Carl Froch call-out, I'll be honest with you, Darren. It was a bit Jake Paul-esque, the old Carl Froch call-out. So I wasn't sure about that one. I heard Darren Till talking shit about Jake Paul not that long ago, and all of a sudden he's calling out 60-year-olds in the front row.
No, look,
you know what I mean?
No, I'm not going to disagree with you, because I have been in my own head. Like, should I call him out or not? But again, sometimes we're whores for the money, aren't we? I'm just whoring myself out.
Each to their own. Yeah, I'm not gonna shame anyone. Fair enough. I think there's a Jake Paul scoop up. You know, what if after don't you ever see Jake Paul in the future of you at any point?
Of course, there's definitely, like, I don't know. Look, as I said to DJ Dave, I'm in the circus, so I have to just accept it fully. Like, we're in the circus, and whatever's to come, we're going to be fighting some older guy. Not everything's not going to be legit, is it? So I don't know. It's, as I said, I don't know what the path is, but the path is to make money and see how far I can take this shit. Maybe I can get into the professional side of it, and obviously, I don't know. I think I'm good. Do you know what I mean?
You're all right. You know, you're pretty decent. I think if you're going to be in the shit show, you should be at the top of the shit show. You know, you want the big pieces of shit is what you're looking for.
Oh, God. Well, you know what, Drew, thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for hooking up this interview, because I was trying to get Darren on, and Drew actually gave me your number, Darren, so I can get you on the MightyCast. So I appreciate you, Drew.
No problem.
No, I'm just networking, you know. It's just how I am these days, you know, just connecting Demetrious Johnson and Darren Till. It's just normal stuff in the life of me, you know. Simple shit, you know.
DJ, whose number are you going to give MMA Guru in return for Darren Till?
I mean, I was trying to work on who we working on, Darren. Not Darren.
Give me John Jones's number. I need some ammunition.
I don't have John Jones' number, but okay. I was trying to get you somebody, but it's wherever you want, Guru. You know, I got you, baby. I got you.
Okay. Ian Gary?
He never got back to me. I don't have his number.
Okay,
maybe
cool.
Darren.
Right, well, I'll just fishing for some ammunition.
I ain't got his number.
We'll leave it there.
Okay. All right, Guru. Appreciate you stopping by, brother. We'll chat soon on the next UFC pay-per-view. I think people are waiting for that.
Sure, we will on the next episode of the Mighty Guru Show. How about that, Darren? The Mighty Guru Show. What do you think about that, mate? I've really come up in this world, you know? All right, we'll have to get Darren on. We'll give Darren a little 5-minute segment at the end of our next episode then. See you later, guys. I'll just fucking leave. I'll just leave then, guys. See if it fixes it.
Bye, Guru. So, boys, ladies and gentlemen, that is our man, Darren Till. If you enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, please give a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. Our guest was Darren Till, co-host Michael Walters in the back. We will see you guys in the next episode of the MightyCast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MightyCast, and we just had on Darren Till. Now, this is the part of the episode where we recap everything we just went through, called the Mighty Recap. And man, like I said, Darren Till has been on a tear lately. You know, he came into mixed martial arts, he was on fire, and then he had some losses. Then he won one. They had multiple losses, and he kind of just disappeared from mixed martial arts, it felt like. And then he goes away, then he comes back, and he's just killing it. He's on fire in boxing. He just knocked out Luke Rockhold. But I didn't know he spoke fluently in Portuguese. I didn't know he did a lot of his training in Brazil. I'm sure he went back and forth because he said he did some training with Tom Aspinall in the UK. But I didn't know his story, and I always love hearing it from the athlete's mouth instead of just reading it on Wikipedia. And shit, I did read something on Wikipedia. I typically don't like to do it, but when he was like, oh, he's had a 44-0 in kickboxing, that's why you never trust fucking Wikipedia.
Yeah, he's turned into one of my favorite personalities. And also, I want to say I have turned a little bit into a bigger fan of this influencer boxing thing after seeing Canelo Crawford. I know I'll get a lot of hate for this, but I don't know why. It's more to me just seeing like Darren Till, Luke Rockhold. There's some, as an MMA fan, that's appeals to me more. It might feel crazy to say that. I understand Canelo Crawford. If you're a boxing enthusiast, that's going to be a great fight for you, and you probably were loving the chess match between them. But for me, I just love seeing Darren Till just knock these dudes out. And if he's going to fight Carl Froch next, if he's going to fight Andrew Tate next, which I'm not sure if Misfits would give Andrew Tate such a difficult opponent in his first fight. Tommy Fury's another one. We didn't really get to talk about that, but I would love to see Darren Till against Tommy Fury. It's kind of these stories that get me invested, and he is such a great personality that I don't know why I'm starting to become a bigger fan of this whole Misfits boxing scene.
Because I think it's because it's entertainment, right? I think at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and that's what makes UFC so damn dominant, is because, like even Darren said, like the prelims are better than the main card because you have Killer's Row on there, where in boxing you don't have that. And if you were to have that in boxing, what would that do to the sport of boxing? Would it still be exciting where you get a guy like Terrence Crawford taking on Canelo Alvarez? It would never have happened if Turki Al-Hashish would have never front of the money. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. Like when I watched the Canelo versus Crawford fight, I was in a certain mood where I wanted to be entertained, like more of like just a combat and just like, let me see something open up. But Crawford was such a technician in there, and that's boxing. Like watching Mayweather fight, you know, his fights weren't the most exciting, but when it came to technical, it was very, very exciting. I wasn't in that mood to be technical that night. I was in a mood, you know, because your boy was 3 sheets to the win, and also I wasn't fucking Baskin Robbins. But I think Darren Till is on this money train where he is put on excited fights with Misfits, and to hear him talk about, you know, the money's better, but there's so many more politics in boxing than there is in mixed martial arts, where a lot of people won't talk about that side of their experience of negotiating for a fight. And the fact that he is a free agent and he's going to try to get a fight between, you know, the Fury or Andrew Tate or whoever, then it's going to decide who's going to pick that fight up. Would it be Misfits? Would it be Matchroom? Would it be Top Ring? Would it be WO? Would it be who fucking Zuffa Boxing? We have no idea. So it's kind of cool to hear that side of the negotiating where he's at now, since he's a free agent trying to pick a fight with somebody out there.
And it's great to see someone who ended his UFC career, you know, a little. And I also want to say something too about the end of his UFC career. It ages very well because he goes against DDP, who at the time is a little bit of an unknown. And it was kind of surprising to see DDP finish Till. But now that we have seen DDP since that fight, he fought him extremely well. Now that we know who Dricus du Plessis is, so it was a tough end to Darren Till's UFC career, and it's great to see, just like Mike Perry, he's one of those guys who has really found a niche. So I'm happy to just hear that he sounds like he's in such a good place in his life. He's in Brazil. He's enjoying family time. He's not even trying to negotiate, oh, I'm the A side. He's like, dude, I'm making millions of dollars just boxing. I don't care, whatever. Let's do it. It's so refreshing to hear someone who I already knew he was a gamer and a guy that would accept any fight that was in front of him. But hearing him talk, I really do believe that's how the negotiations go with Darren Till.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, like I said, when you had that mindset where you were fighting for 10-10 or in 15-15, and then somebody's like, hey, I'm going to give you, you know, I don't know, $500K to show 500. I have no idea, but it seems like he's a lot happier with the money he's getting. And he's also going to be able to get sponsors now, and he can negotiate. Shit, he might be able to get ticket sales, pay-per-view buys, concession stands, who fucking knows now? But, you know, as long as he can, you know, he was buying fake watches, now he's buying real watches, and all him and his boys can wear jackets, and he's getting a lot of quid. I mean, I love the fact that, you know, now that I talk to my English side of the family every once in a while, more often than I used to hear the language and how he's saying quid. And my dad says, over in England, he goes, they're stabbers. They don't got guns over there. They'll stab you. And he goes, oh, I got stabbed twice. I'm like, makes sense. My dad was right. They're stabbers over there. I'm happy he's able to turn his life around. And I'm excited to see what he does next. Is he going to fight Tate? Or is he going to fight Fury? Or shit? We never talked to him, like, would he ever go back to fighting, you know, bare knuckle? Well, he's never fought bare knuckle fighting, but I know him and Mike Perry have expressed interest in doing bare knuckle fighting, but I think he's going to stay in that lane of boxing. I think he's found his true calling in that sport. So I'm excited. I'm so happy he was able to give us time to come talk to us here on the MightyCast.
And shout out to MMA Guru as well, joining us. He's
his fucking ass.
Yeah, I always love the love-hate relationship that Guru and Darren Till have. So great to see them collabing. But no, I'm excited to see what's next for Darren Till, and I hope one day he earns that Jake Paul fight and finally is the MMA representative that we need to defeat Jake Paul. Just finally.
That we deserve.
Nothing against Jake Paul. I hope we have him on the MightyCast at some point, but I want to see an MMA guy. I thought it'd be Mike Perry. I thought it'd be Tyron Woodley. Can we finally have that MMA representative that actually stops Jake Paul? So that's what I hope for Darren Till in the future.
Well, I think the biggest thing, if Jake Paul ever hears this or people hear this, we're not haters of Jake Paul. We think what he's done for boxing and bringing awareness to fighter pay and mixed martial arts is absolutely amazing. What he's able to do to Amanda Serino and what he's able to give Mike Tyson the biggest paycheck of his life, Netflix, all that stuff is absolutely amazing. When you talk to, you know, the athlete side of me and the purists of boxing or of sport competition, you want to see him fight somebody who's more in his league. But that's like, we just talked to Darren Till about it. It's the politics in boxing. And in mixed martial arts, the fighters fight the best. Where in boxing, you see it takes so long for Gervonta Davis to fight Shakur Stevenson, or to fight Devin Haney, or Deontay Wilder fighting Anthony Joshua. It's just, there's so much more that goes into like matchmaking in boxing, that boxers get to dictate that. Where in mixed martial arts, you don't get to dictate that. Sometimes you do, right? You see a guy goes, I want to fight him and take this path. But at some point in time, you have to be forced to fight this person. And it's the same thing at boxing. Boxing, if you're a champion, you are forced to fight the next number one contender, or you can relinquish the belt. And you see a lot of athletes do that. Like, I don't want to fight him. They relinquish the belt. Instead of a guy like Usyk, he fights whoever they want him to fight, or whoever is next in line to, try to get the title from him. So, boys, if you enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live, and go do yourself a favor. Go follow Darren Till so you could be on an adventure with him to see what he does next, who he's going to knock out next. I was heartbroken when he knocked out Luke Rockhold, but that's the name of the game. So, boys, I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson, co-host Michael Wandover. Our guest was Darren Till. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast.